people need care, and I don't think they mind where it comes from, whether it's the National Health Service or health and social care. We're supposed to be joining the whole thing up, and it doesn't seem to be getting joined up. And every time we raise it, we get reassurances everything's going to be okay, and it's not okay, and it's not working, and it's causing problems to people. It's caused a lot of problems to people in my patch, and a lot of unhappiness.
I think perhaps the next time we invite it back, actually, that some of the social care colleagues would be here now, just so we can talk through how we're working together. Because it is, although I'm relatively well versed in actually, I think the Commission of Social Care is not responsible.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Judy,
Hi, John. I've made a few points here about IT. In your recent Success for Change regime, I didn't see much about IT there, and I wanted to ask you specifically, and I want you to answer quite briefly, how do you view the value of IT in delivering healthcare?
This is a personal view, not my view as the Commissioner for Eastern Devon rather than from the Success regime. I think, as you describe in your question, actually, with our varied our geography, it is important that we do embrace appropriate telehealth and telemedicine. The evidence base for a lot of it is weak, so we do need to be very careful of in line with every other service we commission, that it's evidence based and safe. We have had a couple of pilots over the last year around COPD and respiratory medicine in the area. Actually, I think they have been really successful. Probably our best one has been in terms of long-term management of prostate cancer, where I think almost every male who has that condition actually in Eastern Devon now is now remotely monitored with a specialist in the acute via the GP. That technology is transferable to a lot of other areas, and again, as you mentioned, the Success regime, actually part of our work around the elective part of that regime is to try and roll out further parts of that, particularly around patient follow-up. A lot of the feedback in terms of a patient experience visiting an acute hospital after a procedure or a period of time actually is the value of the face-to-face follow-up isn't always fantastic. I think it's about 50% of patients locally were saying that they would, if there was a more robust version, even by telephone or telehealth, they prefer that. And with our very, very stretched budgets and the need to treat more and more patients as the population is growing, actually, we will have to embrace that. Now, just because it's not detailed, not documented, doesn't mean as a commission we shouldn't look at that. We will look at it.
Good.
But anywhere it's safe and there's a good evidence base to do it, as there is with what's called PSA monitoring in prostate cancer.
Yeah, and it's also been very useful in areas like Airedale for end of life care. The Gold Line experience is very good. Are you aware of that? And there's really, and it seems to work really well in remote rural areas. Yeah, just quick follow up now. About Crediton Community Hospital, there's going to be a changeover of ownership shortly from North Devon to Royal Devon and Exeter, and there's an issue around NHS property ownership, and is it going to up the rents for Crediton? Are they going to be able to deliver all the services we need for the hub?
Yeah. So this is a national issue. So it's national policy and it's ministerial policy that when service transfers, the ownership goes to PropCo. And we have challenged that. I say our own turnaround director, Martin Sheldon, has been very proactive working with local MPs and councillors in terms of how we actually challenge that. It is unlikely that I think there will be a local solution to that, actually, although we continue to try. There's been some assurances from the Department of Health around our own allocations will be increased to allow for that, which would help in terms of NHS providers. But we do need to work through the implication of getting the voluntary sector in there. Now, we did put our own plan forward in terms of local ownership, but because of national policy, ministerial policy, actually that wasn't deemed to be possible. But we will continue to work on it. But personally, I think it still is going to need a national solution rather than a local.
Yeah, I've written to Jeremy Hunt on it recently, and also I have to declare an interest as a member of the League of Friends of Crediton Hospital. We've actually provided thousands and thousands of pounds worth of equipment which has gone in there, which is now going to be taken over by a privatised company, and there's a real issue, so if we can just don't let that boat sail.
The problem is still the NHS.
Yes.
No, it is still it is the property of
right. Okay, for now.
Yeah.
I don't. Well,
Yeah.
I don't,
Okay.
I couldn't answer that question, but certainly at this moment in time, it is part of the NHS.
Okay, Judy.
Thank you.
There's some questions there I put down there, John. I don't know if you can respond to.
Sorry, could I just ask a related question very quickly?
Please.
Yeah.
There's not so much a question, because I put not a similar question to our next speaker with regard to the ownership, because following on what Judy said, and she's absolutely right, I mean, huge problem with the planning now for the hub is going to be the site in Crediton and what happens to it. And I'm interested to hear what you said about it. It is a ministerial issue. I quite agree with you. But I'd just like to know what you've been doing, or the clinical commissioning group's been doing, to try and sort of help us at Crediton and other places to do, what we're sort of asking, and that is have some clarity over the whole thing.
So on ownership.
Well, it's all ownership is related, isn't it, really? And it's actually, sort of, there are questions around, as I say, the site and which obviously is ownership.
So I think there's a hub development. We said part of our governing body decision in August was an absolute clear commitment to work locally on the hub development. Now I'm not going to say for a moment actually that the ownership issue isn't difficult, but we just need to work that it can't get in the way of some of the services we want to put in the credit. And then as a resident, yes, no. We have to look at my notes for this actually, but there's going to be an exploring cafe in there very shortly. Audiology is increasing from 3 to 5 days a week. Retinal scan is going to go bi-weekly. Breastfeeding clinic, community nursing daily clinic, Action for Children, Sources, Neighbourhood Friends, Age UK are going to work from their active Devon activities, and in my own role as I've been discussing, I'm not saying this because it hasn't happened yet actually, but exploring opportunities for a hospice at home service out of Crediton Hospital. So there is a lot of activity taking place. I'm sure there's a lot of challenges from the community that not enough taking place, but we've appointed a single officer to work with the local population on this, and again, clear commitment to develop this. Happy to be held responsible by both the local population and scrutiny that we do exactly what we said we would do.
Yeah, I think that's great. But the point is all this sort of activity, which is good, and hopefully increased activity there as well, still doesn't really help actually the people that want to go there and park their cars there and actually sort of partake in all this. That's the point. That's coming to be a problem.
Yeah. Okay. I will take that.
Is there a name for that person that's running the credit?
Charlotte Ives has a single role in the CCG, which is she's the officer responsible for the development of hubs across Eastern Devon. Right. So I think anyone who's worked in hubs actually hopefully will has that shot.
Right, thank you. Numbers of questions there, John, from me. I can respond to those. Some of them might.
These are
Is it the mechanism to how you're going to cope with rationing?
So just the term rationing is not.